guys! So today we are going to be doing mixed mushroom buns, and they are savory and delicious and fluffy and yummy, and you guys are really gonna like it. So this is just the recipe for my basic fluffy bao bread dough. I've made it a ton of times for you guys before. Recipe is going to be down below. But it's just some flour, some yeast, some sugar, some salt. I have some baking powder and baking soda. And now I'm just going to add in a half a cup of warm water. And as with any dough recipe, I always add a little bit less than I need. And then depending on the environment, I might add a little bit more water or a little bit more flour. So on medium speed, I am just kneading the dough for 5 to 6 minutes until it gets smoother looking before I add in 1 teaspoon of coconut oil. So you can see how much smoother the dough has gotten after a little bit of kneading. So what I'm going to do now is to form it into a ball, and it's going to rise for 1 hour in the bowl. So just keep that covered, and meanwhile, we can go ahead and work on that filling. So this is one of my favorite fillings for buns, for dumplings, for spring rolls even, and it's just mixed mushrooms. So 250 grams of whatever mushrooms you guys have laying around. I have some soy sauce, some sugar, and some minced garlic to get it all nice and savory. And I'm gonna put the recipe all down below. But what I'm gonna do is cook the mushrooms just a little bit over medium to medium high heat to get rid of some of that moisture before adding in a cornstarch slurry, which will get the mix nice and thick, and it'll be a little bit easier to have it fill your buns afterwards. So this filling needs to rest for about 10 to 15 minutes. You can leave it out, and the cornstarch will help it thicken afterwards, so it'll be easier to fill your buns. Meanwhile, we are going to divide up our dough into about 8 equal pieces. It really depends on how big or small you want to make your buns. But as usual, you want to give your buns a little knead just to wake everything back up. And we're going to use this little donut method to get it into a log so that it can be easily divided into equal pieces. Now, you all saw how I smushed all of those little pieces into flat discs first. That'll make the circular shape a lot easier to roll out. And you can use a big rolling pin as well, but the smaller ones will give you a little bit more control. And I usually roll my discs into about 3 to 4 inches first, depending on how big you want your buns to be. And then focusing on that outer edge, just using the palm of your hands, just a little bit of pressure. Make that outer edge a little bit thinner than the center. And that way, when you pleat it afterwards, it'll be easier to pleat, it'll be easier to fold. And then the center will be thicker so that it can support some of that wetter filling. So I am no pleating expert, nor do I think this dough is necessarily the best texture for it, because it is quite soft, but you're gonna get the fluffiest of buns. But for pleating, what you want to do is just make sure that each of your folds are even, and you just want to make your way around that dumpling or around that filling first. And by the time you get to the end, you'll realize that the dough actually has some nice stretch to it. So even if you initially feel like you've overfilled the bun, you'll realize that you can pull it, stretch it a little bit more, and then just continue pinching and continue folding. And once it's closed off, you're good to go. Now, you want to place these guys in a semi-warm place, covered for 15 to 20 minutes. Give it a rise before putting it into a steamer that is, I'd say, warm. You don't have to have it boiling already. And once the water does come to a boil, steam it for right around 10 to 12 minutes until the buns become nice and big and fluffy, and you guys will know how that looks like. If any of you have made this specific bun recipe before, please tag me. It is such a magical recipe. And I have it obviously in the book. I explain the tips and tricks as well, like when would you start from a hot steamer? When would you start from a cool steamer? And yeah, there's a big bun section in there as well. So if you guys are interested, definitely check the book out. I will put the links down below. Anyways, kitty cats, I hope you all have enjoyed that recipe. I mean, mushroom filling is the best because it's so meaty and you can get it really great tasting with just a couple of ingredients. So, as usual, if you want to see more recipes like this, remember to hit that like and subscribe button. And if you guys know of anyone interested in dim sum or vegan dim sum, please let them know about this book. I'd really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys all again next time, okay? All right, bye.